Chris Landry on your radio, segment number 2. Find him at LandryFootball.com. Also, you can find him on X at Landry Football. All right, Chris, Jim Harbaugh has interviewed twice now, once with the Atlanta Falcons, another time with the San Diego Chargers. And, in the quote-unquote negotiations with Michigan, paraphrasing, wants immunity from anything that has happened. Is it just a foregone conclusion Harbaugh's gone to the NFL? It's just where?
I think I would not go as strong as that. I know everybody else is. I think he's going to end up in the NFL. But, if he gets what he wants at Michigan, and I know people think it's like everything is done and it's written. It's not. It's, he's doing as much interviewing of the different teams as they're interviewing him. He finds the right situation he's comfortable with. Yes, he's gone. But if he doesn't, let's say there are only two that kind of interest him, but he's still got some issues. I don't think it's a done deal. I just think in the end, it's probably going to be that getting what he wants. But I do think the language in the Michigan deal is being discussed because he's got the leverage to do that. They may say no, and he's in a situation where maybe he has to take less than an ideal situation in the NFL. You know what I mean?
Sure.
I think it's all part of negotiation. I think he's probably gone, but I don't think it's a definite thing because, I've been through enough of these coaching search stuff that sometimes you think things are a perfect match and it just doesn't work out for whatever reason. So I would say he's gone, but I don't think it's a definite.
And with Michigan, I mean, you would think that they're doing their due diligence. I mean, be it, whatever candidate that might replace Jim Harbaugh, you would think that, from Brian Kelly to Sharon Moore, the offensive coordinator, they've already kind of done their homework on this, haven't they?
Yeah, Brian Kelly's not in the mix. Sharon Moore is going to be the guy. And so I think that's why their plan is going to be real simple. Now, that's another scenario, and one that they may not be. And if he does leave, I'm very curious to see because again, just for people to understand, I know you do, but so that would open up a 30-day window for those players.
Yeah.
Now it complicates it because school has started on semester school, so but you got a 30-day window. But that only makes Sharon Moore, who's likely going to get the job anyway, all the more likely that he's going to get it. So, I mean, if I were going to forecast who's going to get that job if Jim leaves, I would put it as high as 95, 98% that it's going to be Sharon Moore. That's going to be the best thing for them because of the job he's done and the creating of the continuity. And that continuity, fine, but he's got to be the guy long term. And I think, isn't it ironic that the suspensions and that everything that's going to likely be the reason why he leaves Michigan is the very reason why I think all the Michigan powers that be and the fan base and all the important people that are decision makers, I mean, if those things didn't happen to Jim Harbaugh, they wouldn't have nearly as much confidence in Sharon Moore because the way he's led the team in Jim's absence has been exemplary. And I know people made fun of the crying and all of that wasn't maybe, but that. So I think that situation is set, and the only thing would be maybe a couple of staff members might leave.
Chris, as we shift to this weekend NFL playoffs, you got 4 games. Baltimore taking on Houston, their big favorite. San Francisco is a big favorite over the Packers. And then, of course, you got the Lions, Bucks, and Chiefs-Bills. That Chiefs-Bills game should be a 4-quarter ball game. The Lions-Bucks should be pretty close. On Saturday, though, the two heavy hitters, the Ravens and the 49ers, any chance that they might get upset? I mean, you look at what Green Bay was able to do to Dallas. I think that shocked everybody.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were surprised, although you look at Matt LaFleur, Mike LaFleur, Mike McDaniel, all of those guys were with Dan Quinn in Atlanta. Matt LaFleur knew how to attack Dallas's defense, Dan's defense. And look, let's call it what it is. You can run the football on Dallas. They're a front-running type of team that's got to play with the lead. and Green Bay did it. Are they going to be able to do that against San Francisco? That's going to be a different challenge, a bigger challenge, no doubt. But I do think that their receivers can get open if they can protect Love well, who's played phenomenally well. Green Bay's receivers, Jordan Love, played very, very well. Defensively, they've not been all that good for much of this year. Obviously, with the lead, it was completely different last week, played well. But I do think they've probably got a better chance. I'm a little bit surprised that the line was as high as it was. I think they'll keep it closer, but I certainly think San Francisco's got the big edge. And look, I think Houston, great game last week, but that's a defense that's built on speed and playing inside against Cleveland last week. Utilizing that speed and the crowd advantage is something that's going to not be there when they play on the road in Baltimore against a very two-dimensional offense that can run and pass with equal effectiveness, and obviously a great defense and very good special teams. That's going to be difficult, but C.J. Stroud is playing well. They're playing with house money, so I think they might make this game a little bit closer than people think. But I do like the 2-1 seeds on Saturday.
And the Chiefs going to Buffalo on Sunday afternoon. The Bills a 3-point favorite if we're going by just looking at Vegas. Patrick Mahomes' first time on the road in the playoffs, which is wild to even think about. Who do you like in this game to get to the AFC Championship?
I like Kansas City because Buffalo's just banged up on defense. I think, to me, that's the biggest concern I would have. I certainly like the fact for Buffalo that they're at home. Josh Allen is playing well. I think Joe Brady's done a phenomenal job with getting the running game going. I think unless there's a ton of wind, I know we got to be on weather watch again in Buffalo this week, but it's all about the wind. The cold you can throw in. Unless there's a lot of wind, I think we're going to see both quarterbacks throw it and throw it well, and I think it should be a lot of fun. I think Kansas City is just more sound on defense and healthier on defense. Buffalo at home, so I think that neutralizes some of that. I think it should be a great one, but push comes to shove, I'm not going to be surprised either way, but I think Kansas City's better going in. And, I do think that Tampa has got a chance to have some success against Detroit, moving the football. I think Detroit's defense is vulnerable, and I think Detroit wins it, but I'm wondering, and I don't think this is going to be the case, but I'm wondering emotionally. That was such a huge game last week. I know you watched it and thought that's just such a big lift for them. That's the second playoff win for that organization in 68 years. It almost is like that was their Super Bowl last week, and there's so much more for this team. This is a game they should win. I think the offense will be too much, but they're going to have to protect Jared Goff. They're going to see a heavy blitz pressure from Todd Bowles, and if you blitz Goff, it's a lot different game. So I think Detroit has to neutralize it again with the running game. So I do like Detroit, but I think Tampa has got a much better chance than I would have ever thought maybe going 2-3 weeks ago. And it's not because I think Tampa's all that good, but I do think that they can cause some problems situationally on offense and defense against the Lions.
Chris Landry, make sure to find him on X at Landry Football. Also, find him at LandryFootball.com. Chris, appreciate you as always. We'll be back to Monday next week and talk to you then.
Hey, thanks a bunch. I appreciate you switching. Thanks.